Hi guys, it's Taboo, and today I'm going to do a little video on effective grinding. Now I will say sorry if you hear the keys going in the background. I'm trying to do this as a live sort of thing so you can see really what we're doing as we're going through this. And it's one of the questions that I do get asked, especially with, now I've got the Ranger to 59. How did you do it? Some people said because they know I work a full-time job. Is it still possible to get high? And yeah, you definitely can get to a high level. It's all about the effective grinding. Now, there are lots of places where you can grind. There are lots of places that are well known for being very good for grinding spots. So for instance, at the moment I'm at the Desert Nagas, Fogans is very good. Now what you can find though when you're grinding, there's a lot of areas where you have a trade-off. So for instance, if you come to Fogans or Nagas, you're trading off money because the drops here really aren't very good. At the moment we've got the Blackstone event on, which is nice, but other than that there's no real good hand in. Obviously the items that these guys drop are worth a lot, but it's not great. Anyway, so let's go on to how can you make your grind as effective as possible. Now the first thing that you need to know is if you want to grind effective as possible, for most places, now keep in mind I'm saying most places, you want to be in a full group. The reason why, although your XP per mob goes down, I do believe when you get to 2 people in your group, you're basically getting 70% of the XP as you normally would per mob killed. If you get to 3 people, you only get 50% per mob kill. Now, when you go to 4 and 5, it's still 50%. Now you might think, oh, why would I want to have 50% less per mob? The idea being, if you're in a full group, you are grinding everything, you're attacking everything you can. So as long as you're in a rotation where all 3 people, or at least 3 people, are killing things at 100% effectiveness, so you're always going around attacking, you're going to be getting the best XP possible. And obviously when you go to 5, as long as you see everyone attacking, it means your clear speed is obviously very high and you're really getting through things. So that's the first thing. So having to think about a group setup is nice. Now let's talk about night cycle. As you can see, our night cycle's just popped, and obviously night cycle is a really big buff. And I'm also going to quickly pop my 200% leveling, and I always go for the half an hour version, and let me tell you why. If you're in a grinding spot where you know you're not going to get any hassle, now for instance we're at Fogans, we're at the Desert Nagas, the chance of someone coming here is going to be very low now. We've been here before the night cycle starts, and that's something else I definitely suggest doing because you can secure your location. Most of the time people aren't going to walk into a grind spot halfway through the night cycle because the people that want to grind will have been there already. So once you've got your spot sorted and you're ready for the night cycle, because obviously you get that extra 50%, and you think that no one's going to come and no one's going to bother you, you can pop your daily combat XP thing. Now I use a half an hour one because as long as you're not getting interrupted, you're going to be getting the most optimal thing possible. And that's what you want to do. Now I've also forgotten I'm in the desert. I need to swap over to putting my tea on my bar because I've forgotten about that. Anyway, so we're grinding through. Now I do apologise, obviously I am back on the Tamer for the people that obviously have been saying, oh, you're on your Ranger now, why are you on your Ranger? I haven't given up on the Tamer, I just had a break, and I have to admit I've missed it. I really have missed it. So I'm back onto grinding, back on this character, and I am really enjoying it. But obviously now I want to get to 59, which is irritating. So what else can we do? Now, of course, you should always be cycling foods, and for people that don't know, your food buff for leveling is milk tea. You can get a blue version of it, just called milk tea, or you can get smooth milk tea, which is, I think, like 4 times the price, but it gives you a lot more for your health bar. So obviously, as you might know, the more food you eat, your health goes up, not necessarily at the same time, but you have a little sort of XP. So if I press P now, you'll see there, health, and that goes up by how much you eat. Now obviously on my Ranger that's a lot higher because I've been cycling food for longer and I've actually run out of the good tea, so I'm back on the blue. But that'll give you a 90-minute buff, and I think it gives you, was it 8%? Yeah, 8%, and that's quite nice. So have that on and always make sure that's cycling through. Now at the moment we have some of the nice things. We have the beer event, so that's 20%, and there's a lot of these things going off. So if you have any sort of event scrolls going around or anything like that, you can use them, especially if you know that it's going to be a long grind session. Now if you've got other things like your combat book that you might still have, or you want to pop the loyalty things, also pop them as well, but make sure you're popping them when you know you're not going to get interrupted. You want to make sure that your grind session is going to be very effective. Now other tips that you should do before grinding anyway are repair. People always forget to repair, and the amount of times we hear people go, oh, I need to repair or my bags are full. halfway through a night cycle, and it's very silly. You want to really get every second you can grinding out of this. So make sure before you go to do your grind, you go back to town, you repair, you hand in, you empty your bags, and you buy pots if you need pots. Now luckily now most classes, due to the awakenings, don't need pots, or say at least from the new skill add-ons, you won't need pots. Now as you see from our group here, and this is a bit of interest, if you look at the bars over everyone's name, you'll see that where the Wi-Fi bars, everyone is in green. Now that means we're all in range of experience from each other, and that's really important. If you start going out of range, you're not going to get the full XP, which means it's a waste. So keep that in mind while you're leveling. Now a couple of other things which are really nice, and I went over this in the Good Guildie book. You really want to have your party elixir. So I've got my party elixir here, for instance. Now we normally cycle who's doing it. So today it's not me, luckily. I did them yesterday. So I came with I think about 70 odd. Now I'm back down to 30. But one person tends to do the cycling. And if you're in a guild group, this is really good because you'll save so much money as well. Though you have to buy them and then obviously make them into the party elixirs. One person doing it is better than 5 people popping their own individual ones, and you'll save a lot of money. So just that tiny bit of organisation will really help you out. Now obviously you can be really lucky if a guild quest pops up in a certain area that makes it good to grind. At the moment a Fogan's came up and we already have someone there, so we're sticking with Desert Nagas because it was so close to night. So let's have a think. What have I said? You want to be in a 5-man group if possible. As you see in our group, there's very little time when we're not killing something. Now admittedly, at the moment I'm not taking huge packs. Now the reason why I'm not taking the huge packs are because we have a group which is doing that. We want to make sure we're optimizing the pools. So what I'm doing here is I'm trying to take anyone who's out on the sides, which the main group might leave. That way we're really getting every mob around. Now obviously having pets is really important when you're grinding. If you've been lucky, and I have to admit I've been very lucky to have some pets with combat XP, that's another buff, so you can have them up. But you want to really make sure you have your pets up because they're going to be looting for you. And you don't want to be walking around after things looting because that's going to be a real pain. Now having your pets up to level 10 is great. You may have seen I've got one at level 1. That's because I just managed to get a tier 4 pet, so that's fantastic. But the higher tiers, higher level, it will give you a much better time and a lot less time messing around picking up loot. Now, there are a couple of other little tricks that you can do to help your leveling. I actually tend to carry around a secondary helm, as you see here, my gears, because it's got very low durability. Actually, I'll show you that again. And I've just put in the 3% XP gems. Now, I've only got 2. I did have a 10% one, but sadly that broke a long time ago. I believe actually I fell off a wall and I managed to not survive, and apparently falling off a wall killed my gem. But if you have the 10% one, whack that in as well. Now, it's always nice to have like a backup helm or something like that, which you can do. Trying to run 5 luck is also very important. As you may have seen, I'm not running 5 luck at the moment. That is just very silly on my part, but the reason why is because I have my other luck gem in my other helm, and I like having this sort of extra 6% from gems. So these are just some really easy things that you can do just to help it up. As you see, I have a normal helm here. If any PvP kicks off, I'll put that on. Sadly, all my gear at the moment is downgraded. I had some pretty bad luck trying to get some tets. So never mind, my weapon's back down to Pry, but hopefully at the end of today I'll put it back up to Try and I'll be happy again. And do Ted at a later time. So yeah, I think as far as it goes for leveling, making sure you're cycling your food buffs, making sure that your potions are rolling if you're in a group, trying not to get out of range, and killing every mob that you can see will really help you get the maximum experience. And again, if you think that you're in an area where you're not going to be getting too much hassle and you're not going to get pushed off, pop the 30-minute XP buff, you know, your daily combat allowance. Now, the other thing is, and this is worth saying, if you're at somewhere where, say for instance, you might get pulled off, then pop the hour one. So you see at the moment here, where we are, I've actually gone out of range of a couple of my members. That's because a couple of us have shot ahead. But the rest of the group will come because we do know it's important to stay in range. But yeah, if you're going to get pushed off, go to the 100% buff for an hour, just in case. But really, you should be saving it up for a time when you know you're not going to have any problems and you can go and farm through the night. Anyway, there you go, a really quick video, and I hope that you found these tips useful, and I hope that'll help you get that extra couple of percent, and hopefully I'll see you all at 59 or maybe even 60 one day soon. Anyway, take care. Thanks for watching, guys. Bye.